Here are 10 absolutely amazing historic places that you can visit in Scarborough. The earliest human habitation we're aware of up here dates to the late Bronze Age and into the early Iron Age. You see, during the Neolithic and into the Bronze Age, the climate here was warmer. It was warmer than today. Oh, look at that bird. But by the time you get to the late Bronze Age and into the early Iron Age, the weather was deteriorating. It was now getting colder and wetter, which meant that upland areas that had been farmed now couldn't be. And that created the problem of, well, now there's too many mouths to feed and not enough food. So we begin to see in the British landscape at this point people congregating into settlements on higher ground, mainly for defence. Just here at the castle, they've got this really cool little museum here. This sword here, this replica, this is a Bronze Age sword. The original is in the British Museum. This was found on the headland here. And now we come to about the year 370 AD and the establishment of a Roman signal station. This is getting very near the end of Roman Britain. There was a signal station right there, kind of like a lighthouse. It was part of a series of signal stations along the northeast coast of the Roman province of Britain. These signal stations were put here to warn of barbarian incursions. In this case, the Picts from the north, up that way, and the Anglians from northern Germany and southern Denmark coming from the east over that way. It went out of use sometime in the early 5th century AD, and that is when Roman administration was withdrawn from Britain. You know, on a clear day like this, you can't quite see Denmark. Moving further forward in time to about the year 1000 AD, the Anglo-Saxons established a chapel on this site, St Mary's Chapel, and it was expanded in the 12th and the 14th centuries, and it was constructed in amongst the old Roman signal station. Oh wow, gosh, look, this is gonna be so cool. Scarborough Castle was built round about 1130 by William le Gros, the Earl of York. And apparently over the years he splashed out about £650 for its construction. Now of course that's not a lot of money today, but when you think back then the yearly wage was about 3 shillings and a kick up the bum, that's quite a lot of money.
Henry II acceded to the throne and demanded the return of all royal castles. Scarborough, which was built on a royal manor, was one of these, and Scarborough Castle passed into the hands of the Crown. In 1159 he began to have the castle rebuilt and also had a new town built beneath its walls.
This here is St Mary's Parish Church. It was built about the year 1150. However, large parts of it were destroyed during the English Civil War of 1642 to 1651. In fact, so much damage was done, the church originally also extended out here. Now it ends there. If I swing the camera around, see those ruins there? That's actually where the church finished. So I would still be inside the church before the English Civil War. And the location of this church is absolutely beautiful. There's the church there. And that's the view it has out into South Bay. Gorgeous. So you got the church there. And if you leave the grounds here, there is another cemetery just on the other side over there. Split by this laneway. And walk down here. And right there is the final resting place of Anne Bronte. Here is the outlet, or one of the outlets, for that acidic water that everyone raved about for centuries. Look at this. Wow. This is where people literally would stand and get their water. Not drinking water.
There was a previous spa building on the site, but in 1737 it was destroyed in a major cliff fall. A later replacement burnt down. At one time it was the most popular music hall venue outside of London.
It's ironic that the spring waters here, which for centuries have been looked upon as an all-purpose cure, were later on to be found not all that healthy for people to drink. Here's another one of these wonders of the Victorian age. These trolley car things that go up and down. This is the Cliff Lift. 1875 it was built. What do you actually call these things? They've got to have a name. It's not trolley car or tram. It's a funicular. Is that because they're fun? F-U-N-I-C-U-L-A-R. Funicular. This parkland and walkway area here is beautiful. There's the North Sea out there. It reminds me of a place back in Sydney where I grew up. It was a steep road going about half a kilometre right down, very, very steep, and we used to ride our bikes and skateboards down it. It emptied out onto a freeway. Looks like an old fountain. Curious about this pedestrian access. It leads down to that round thing I was looking at earlier. Pedestrian thing. Look at this. This here is the Rotunda Museum. A lot of geology, I believe. I haven't been in there yet. Built in 1829. It is one of the longest running museums in Britain, and it's also one of the very first purpose-built museums. Going to go in and have a look. Very nice. 7. Right, that's the market hall behind me, established in 1853. 600 years earlier, King Henry III, by charter, established Scarborough Fair.
The fair was held between the 15th of August and the 29th of September. It was in the 1600s that the ballad Scarborough Fair was written, with similarities to an older Scottish folk song known as the supernaturally inspired The Elfin Knight, though much of the song we are familiar with today dates to the 19th century.
That there behind me is the Cliff Bridge, formerly known as the Spa Bridge. It opened in 1827, and the reason why it was built here was because, and you can see it in the landscape, the land slopes down there, goes down almost to the beach down there, and then rises up again on the other side. So that was put in there to help the people from the North Bay on the other side of the headland to access the spa more easily. 1827, heavens. Right at the height of the Industrial Revolution. And just below the Cliff Bridge here is another one of these little trolley car train things that take people from down on lower ground up to higher ground. There's one that way and there's another one that way. This one here obviously hasn't been in use for a very long time. The Grand Hotel. It opened in 1867, and at the time of its opening, it was the largest brick building in Europe.
The building is designed around the theme of time, 4 towers to represent the seasons, 12 floors for the months of the year, 52 chimneys symbolise the weeks, and originally there were 365 bedrooms, one for each day of a non-leap year. It was also built in the shape of a V for Queen Victoria. It is rumoured that in World War II, Adolf Hitler planned to make the hotel his private palace and have water piped directly to his bathroom from the spa.
And actually, I'm staying here in this hotel while I visit Scarborough, room 704.
5th floor.
Right.
Door opening.
I'm actually on the 7th floor, but it doesn't go all the way up. And this is the room. I'm actually in one of the towers. It's this one right here in this photo. Got these little porthole windows. Pretty cool. And just behind the Grand Hotel is the Victorian tramway to the beach. This has been in operation since 1881. There you go. Have a go. Thanks, mate. Bill. And this is where it drops you off at. And ahead of me, that way, is really the tourist strip. This is Vincent's Pier. There's been a pier here since the 14th century. This one was expanded in the 1750s. The building to my right here is Scarborough Lighthouse, and this was built in 1806. However, it was severely damaged by the German Navy in the opening months of World War I in 1914.
On the 16th of December 1914, the German Navy attacked Scarborough. In all, 19 civilians were killed as more than 500 shells rained down. This event so shocked the nation that Remember Scarborough became a rallying cry for a huge recruitment campaign.
I've just noticed this vessel here in the harbour. This is the Regal. This vessel here, according to the sign and on the funnel, says rescued over 1,200 soldiers from Dunkirk beaches 1940. My grandfather was a regimental sergeant major in the British Army, and he was part of the British Expeditionary Force. He was at Dunkirk and he was evacuated along with thousands and thousands of others. Now, of course, I have no way of knowing whether he was evacuated on this vessel. It is a nice thought, though, that perhaps, just maybe, he was evacuated from France back to England on the vessel behind me. Now it's got a bar on board. And there we have it, 10 of the most amazing historic sites that you can visit here in Scarborough. I hope you found the video informative and a little bit entertaining. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video and the channel, please consider hitting that like and the subscribe button. I'll see you again soon.